Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. So today, woke up this morning, did my normal thing. I have a ton of apps, news apps that I go through. Typically, we'll just go through the notifications real quick, see what type of stuff is being talked about on the news. Do a few Googling things on some normal things that I track. You know, made my coffee, saw hubby off, just did the normal things. Let the chickens out, took the dog out, fed the cat, just normal everyday things, right? Getting kiddos ready for school, just normal stuff. And so I decide, okay, I've done all the normal things. It's time to just kind of tap in. Let's see what my community is talking about on YouTube. What are all my folks talking about? And then I follow several different niches, if you will, right? Preparedness folks, a lot of preparedness folks, different levels, small channels, big channels. I follow a bunch of financial people, and it was insane today. I mean, you would have thought war broke out last night and we woke up to it, right? Every single channel, every single person, just everybody that I check on and kind of see, hey, what are they talking about, was talking about World War III. And listen, we've talked about World War III for a minute now, right? For over a year, we've been talking about World War III, getting ready for it. What does it look like? Is this going to happen? Then the war started, but it's a proxy war, no big deal. But it's just increasing. And as things have happened, as things have unfolded, you know, it puts people on edge. It's red flags, if you will, for a lot of people in my community when certain things happen. And yesterday, with, you know, the whole Germany thing, tanks thing with us and sending, we're going to continue to send stuff, and false notions of like, we don't really want to be in a war coming from our administration, which just isn't true. You don't send war items and then say you don't want to be in a war, you don't want to be part of a war. It's just, you would just sit back and drink your tea and just watch. You wouldn't send any aid. So obviously we want to be in this. We want to be in the middle of this like we always do. Concerning at first was that every single channel is on a heightened response, and everybody is on the narrative of World War III, whether it's coming from a dynamic of it's already here to it's coming to a dynamic of we're coming to a head, certain things, you know, we're crossing lines, yada yada yada. And let me tell you, I'm numb. I'm very, very numb. And some of that's because of my military background, and some of it's because we've been talking about this for so stinking long that I'm just over it, right? And I'm over it even in the sense of World War III, and what does that look like, to a home invasion of enemy troops landing on American soil, to a full-on war with our troops being sent somewhere, working through and with NATO, right? And that allied force, right? And just all these things. And from all the way up to nuclear war, right? Just crazy stuff. And you sit back and you're like, this is too much. It's overwhelming. I've been doing this for a while and I'm numb. And so I know that some of you are like me. You're numb to it. But then I know some of you guys are freaking out. And some of you are brand new to this and you're overwhelmed in the sense of, where do I even start to prepare, right? And so today's video is just kind of going over, hey, ask yourself these questions and answer them. And by figuring out what your answer is to these questions, you know, you will figure out real quick where you stand in regards to your preparedness. And if you're ready, right? We talk about water, food, meds, right? Get that stuff. We talk about preparing for grid down, preparing to just live with no power indefinitely if you had to, right? You get the things to make life easier, but really it's to make it easier as you transition to a possibility of never getting that power back. And that's how you should think about it is, do I have the things to make my quality of life, my mental game okay, and my family comfortable as we mentally shift and adjust into a world where we don't get that back, right? That is what you should be doing. But ask yourself these questions. Something happens, anything happens, right? World War III, whatever that looks like, you know, how far are you off from starvation? Meaning literally how much food do you have in your house right now in regards to you and your family, and how long you can make that last. And you can do your calculations, real calculations. You can do calculations by, rationing. How long is it how far off are you from starvation, right? How far off are you from dehydration and or not having water, period? How far off are you on having to run out of water and then having to source it, meaning leave your comfort of your home, the safety of your home, and going and getting water, right? How far are you away from that being what you have to do? Okay. How do you plan to cook? You have no power. How do you plan to feed your family? Is it MREs at first? Is it the 25-year freeze-dried food? Is it your pressure canned food? Is it canned food? And then how are you heating up that food? How are you heating up water for tea and coffee? How are you heating up food that's maybe already pre-made and just needs to be heated up? How are you bona fide cooking? Do you even know how to cook? Do you know how to cook over a fire? Just basic things. How do you feed your family? How do you heat and cool your room or your home, right? I mean, it's insane that, a lot of people, we live in a lot of comforts. We have a lot of comforts. And when I really think about it, I was like, we're ready in so many ways, but baby, ain't nobody trying to just live in a big old cold house, just freezing, just having sweatshirts and jackets and gloves and mittens and beanies and all types of stuff. Nobody wants to live like that. You want to live in a nice, warm, cozy house. Maybe you go outside in that stuff, you do some work, but it feels good to know you're going to have a nice, warm, cozy house to come back to. So nobody's wanting to think about what this looks like. That doesn't have to be the case if you plan this out. How do you keep your family warm? How do you keep that cozy feeling to any part of your home, right? How do you keep it cool if this happens and things happen in the heat of the summer, right? When it's blistering outside and you want to just be able, right now, it's humidity, it's hot, whatever, but you have maybe the ability to come in and sit in some AC or go sit in the car, or you work somewhere where there's AC, right? And so people don't really think about how hot it gets because they have all these luxuries around them. But trying to stay cool in that environment is not easy, okay, when you don't have the luxuries around us. So again, how do you heat your home and cool your home when you have no power anymore, right? How do you buy things? Do you have stuff to barter, trade, a skill? Think about, what are you going to do when the banks close down? You have no money. How much cash do you have? How far is that going to go? What are your other money options? Gold, silver, whatever it is. What else do you have to offer, right? It's horrible that we have to think about these things, but you need to be thinking about these questions. Say them out loud and answer. What's the answer? How much medicine do you have? How many vitamins? How much, do you have any holistic stuff? Do you know anything about foraging? Do you know anything about plants? What plants can do for you? What plants are good for fever? What plants are good for high blood pressure? What plants are good for whatever it is, whether it's known ailments or something happens to you and your family. Basic knowledge of stuff, right? Do you know enough about infectious disease and just infections and treating infections and how infections can lead to death, and how prepared are you for that? Medically, medical supplies, knowledge, right? How many books do you have in your home? How many how-to books do you have in your home? How many medical books? Do you know how to garden? Do you know how to grow food? Do you have literature showing you how to build things, do-it-yourself things? Start asking yourself the question and then build upon that. Do you have a way to communicate? Grid down, chaos outside. Do not know what's going on. I think a lot of chaos is going to come from people not having communication, meaning not having a way to get information. People just assume, okay, well, I have my cell phone, it's going to work. If there's no internet or there's no power, that might not be a viable source at all to get news, right? Even if you have a power source to plug it up to, that might not be a viable source, stuff being fed to that, right? So how do you get information? Do you have an AM, FM radio? Do you have several of them? Because maybe we go through an EMP and stuff is destroyed, right? So what do you have to be able to, at a minimum, receive information, to understand what's going on? Because if you don't understand what's going on, to any capacity, you're going to lose it. Mentally, you're going to lose it because you have no idea how big it is, what's happening, what's happening with wars, what's happening with people, what's happening with different cities, with different states. Are we going to be invaded? Is it an EMP? Is it a cyber attack? Is it a nuke attack? The panic is going to come from people not knowing what's happening. You think the news is going to stay on forever? The news could be, knocked out right away. Or we could be in a situation where they're on generators and they're able to broadcast something at first. And then once the generators go, they can't anymore. But something could EMP, cyber attack, EMP, whatever, EMP missile, they're done. Those generators are not working. None of that stuff is working and you're not getting any broadcast. And if somebody can broadcast in some kind of EMP sheltered area or whatever, an American broadcast out to the people, you're going to be able to get that through an AM, FM radio. So you have to have at a minimum, how are you receiving information? And or how are you communicating out? If that's an option and that's something that you want to be able to do. Something as simple as walkie-talkies and being able to, possibly charge those through the car or a solar generator, passing them out to your neighbors so you guys can discuss and talk and keep a lookout and discuss when each of you see different things. But maybe that stuff doesn't work anymore. This is what I'm saying is you have to think about these scenarios. You need to ask yourself these questions. Like, what do you have for this stuff? What have you done to prepare for a major escalation of the war? Meaning missiles, an invasion, nuclear bombs dropped. Like, what's the plan? And I know a lot of people are like, who cares? We're dead at that point. And in a lot of ways we are, right? But what is it that you've done to try to protect your family? Because you have no idea. There's no point to lay down and die if you make it through a blast. And you have no idea how close you are to something where you actually might be far enough away where you could be okay, right? You just don't know. But what have you done to prepare for that? What have you prepared? What have you done or what do you have that's prepared you for defending your home? How are you defending your home? From weather, from people, from theft, from marauders, from everybody, right? How do you defend your home? Do you have a way to defend your home? How would you defend your home? How would you buckle down and fortify your home, right? Secure your home. How would you continue to be able to watch on cameras and see what's going on outside your house if you're inside? Like, these are important questions because this is a year of escalation. Stuff is not going to go backwards. It's not going to go back to lovey-dovey. We're going forward, and the direction we're going is obviously headed towards this because everybody and their mother is discussing this, is talking about this, and is obviously having the feeling that something big, it's just a matter of time. You have channels that are boasting, in the next couple months, something major is going to kick off. And for me, I hate to say like single things because for me, it really could be, there's just a mirage, there's just a ton of things, right, that could set stuff off. And to me, it's a domino effect. It only takes one major event that could then domino and other things are affected and it's horrible. Let me ask you this. Do you have your toilet system? Do you have a way to go to the bathroom when the toilets start working? And don't give me this, well, we're just gonna have water and we're just gonna have water for the toilet. Baby, you know how much gallons of water it takes? Even the best of toilets, it's at least a gallon to flush. Okay? I don't care if you have water in the back and you're like, I got 30 gallons dedicated to just flushing the toilet. Well, okay, if we're thinking and talking about flushing a toilet and that type of thing, it's a lot of water. Just think right now. Just do some math on how big your family is. How often is each of them doing a number 2 a day, right? Do that math and see how many times you're flushing the toilet. And then if there's a backup or there's a problem with the sewer system, you're on the city sewer, that's a problem because at some point you're going to have to shut that off. You're going to have to plug it up, and that's not going to be an option. And this only becomes a long-term option if you're on a septic, your own septic, right? And you could have water. But if you don't have an endless supply of water, that eventually comes to a hill. That comes to a wall. You're not going to be able to continue to do that because you're going to run out of water unless you have an endless supply or catching a lot of rainwater, whatever, right? And there has to be some thought process of how you guys are going to the bathroom. Your bodily, stuff is not going to stop. You can't just say, I'm going to refuse and I'm just not going to go. You're going to have to go eventually. And so you have to figure out, what does your emergency toilet system look like? Is it buckets? Is it not? Is it, maybe you got a composting toilet. Maybe you have the wood already to be able to build some kind of outhouse, and you're going to do some leach, some leach fields or digging holes. I mean, if you've got it planned out, you got it planned out. But I promise you, there's millions of people that do not have it planned out, right? And that leads to disease and infection and just horridness, and now you have to worry about water being compromised, water sources, and animal, just there's so much domino effect just with a sewer system going down for an amount of people, right? It's just a very, very bad look, right? What do your preps have in order to get rid of, hold bodily waste, regular waste, trash, whatever it is? There's a lot of things. What do you have in your preps to get ready for that on a big scale? How many cases of trash bags do you have? Do you have different sizes? What are the sizes you need for heavy duty trash? What do you need for bio waste? What do you need for animal waste? You have to think about the scenarios that have you staying indoors, locked down, meaning you're not literally going outside. For some reason this escalates and we find ourselves in a nuclear war. You have nuclear fallout, you have nuclear winter, you're not going outside. And so you have to have contingencies on how you are dealing with waste, right? That's building up in your home, right? Whether that's bodily waste, that's trash, that's animal waste, whatever it is. What's the plan with that? What is your nuclear plan in regards to boarding up your home, sealing off your home, your gear, right? Your gas mask, your suit, all of that stuff. Like, do you have that? Do you have the pills that you need to help fight and protect your thyroid? Like, it can be so overwhelming, but I still continue to this day to tell people to be encouraged that if you constantly just think on 4 things: water, food, meds, and then you build off of that on everything you need for a grid down situation, for a blackout, no power situation. And again, you are building that with the mentality of what are the things we need, the stuff stockpiled to make the quality of life work. And that quality of life window should be months to years. And then you have years worth of supplies that then helps you mentally transition, if you do not have power after 2 years, to transition into your living life without that stuff. And the quality of life stuff helped you land into a new world and a new way of living, right? Obviously, you're going to be understanding what it feels like to live with no power well before the 2-year mark, but getting the things, it helps that transition, okay? And it gets you through an event, because if you're prepared for 6 months, a year, 2 years, that could possibly be enough to help you get through that event. And the event does start to correct itself and get better. And there is no forever type of survival that you have to do, okay? I just think that there's a lot going on. And I felt very numb seeing all these videos today. Everybody and their mother talking about WW3. Or, hey, WW3's here. Or, oh, we hit the line. Oh, something's about to happen. This is about to go hardcore. And even discussions about just what does it look like? What is World War III to us? Like, what does that look like? That none of us know what that looks like. That none of us know truly what could happen. And how left it could go, and something. It's very easy for us to be like, we're the baddest and nobody's gonna mess with us. But are we? That's the question. So you just worry about you and yours, your family, getting back. Ask yourself these questions. Start asking yourself these questions. If you've been prepping for a long time, you should start asking yourself, okay, what if all this stuff got stolen? All the stuff that was out that you can see got stolen. you know, 50 marauders, 100 marauders group comes through here, cleans you out. You should be telling yourself, where is my hidden food? Do I have hidden food and water? If you don't, that's your next gameplay. You need to seriously think about how you're hiding food and water on your property where you live, away from marauders, right? You should be thinking, what else can I do to fortify where we're going to go if there is nuclear fallout? Wherever that's at, a basement, a bunker, the middle of your house, wherever it is for you, you should be asking yourself, okay, how would I fortify that more? How would I make more barriers around me, above me, whatever, to keep us as safe as possible? Radiation's a real thing. Ugly, 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 right? You should be asking yourself, you know, are you saved, right? Is God in your corner? Does God have your back? You should be thinking about your mental game, your spiritual game, your physical game, all of that stuff. You know, you should be reconsidering and thinking about your game plan with defending your home. Take another roundabout. Take another look. What would you do? What are the sources? What would you do? Maybe there's more you can do with your fence line to slow down people. Maybe there's more barriers that you can do. And this could be nice stuff, flowers and things like that, right? Trees, planting strategically of trees and stuff. There's a lot you could do. So if you're seasoned, I hope you're not just laying down like, I'm just going to continue to watch these videos as people discuss this. I'm going to continue to watch the news. And I'm just locked and loaded and we're ready. There is no ready, because none of us really know when something's going to pop off, how it's going to pop off, how it's going to directly affect you and your family, because depending on where things happen, the level of severity to you and yours could look very different than somebody else in a different city even, or a different county, or a different state, right? Or another part of the world. You know, it's hard to pinpoint what you and yours is going to have to go through. So all you can do is continue to stockpile, continue to prep, continue to learn skills, learn things so that you can truly survive if you had nothing, right? That's the name of the game. That's the long game, is what do you have on your back? What are your skills? What do you know how to do without anything? Just you. How valuable is just you? Right? And that comes down to your skill sets. That comes down to your knowledge and what you have chosen to teach yourself. Okay? Because you right now, today, in this moment, you have time to learn more stuff, to get more stuff, to ask yourself these questions, get the answer, and then determine, okay, depending on your answer, I need to concentrate on this, this, and this. Right? Let me look at my list. Yeah, I mean, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Get ready for infrastructure, however this happens, whether it's our fault, whether it's enemy's fault, a cyber attack, whatever. Get ready for infrastructure to crumble and how that's going to affect you. And getting the things that's required to then shift to your preparedness items, your preparedness way of doing things once things go left. Continue to get knowledge. Continue to watch these channels. I mean, I still glean information from channels I watch all the time that, yeah, they're saying the same stuff over and over, but maybe there's that one piece of nugget. They say something and it gets my mind thinking about something else, right? So, I think it's important to continue to watch. It's just that I'm numb. I'm very numb when you just say World War III. When you just say WW3, I'm numb. I just don't care anymore. I just know that I'm going to continue to push forward, continue to do the things, get the things, and push forward, and continue to ask yourselves these questions. And there's other questions, because there's other areas of preparedness. You know, how much fuel do you have? What levels of fuel do you have? How much do each of those levels of fuel last, right? How much butane do you have? How much propane do you have? How much kerosene do you have? How much lamp oil do you have, right? All those things matter, because each of those levels of fuel is enough to last you for whatever, right? How much gas do you have? How long will it actually last for you? How much does it take for the generator? How long does that last? Okay, now do the math on what you have left. Is there anything else you're using gas for, right? really do the calculations for stuff and figure out how much do you have of stuff and how long will it truly last, right? Somebody who has 6 cans of gas and is like, okay, cool, we got gas. Yeah, for a small period of time, that's great. And that's definitely better than no gas. Absolutely, 100%, right? But again, that's only going to last that long, right? How much gas does it take to run your generator? How many hours does it run? How many hours do you plan to run yours, right? What have you done to protect that generator that's loud as hell, right? What have you done? Now people know you have gas because you're running a generator. What have you done to protect that gas? You know, there's just a lot of variables of different things and how things can go left, right? And you plan. And if you don't have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and then just have the mindset to come up with plan E and plan F, right? That's where it's going to go. That's where it can go bad, right? So anyway, I guess that's enough mumbling from me. I saw all this stuff. I know that you guys are seeing it too, because a lot of you follow these channels, these same channels that I'm watching. You watch the same news stuff. You watch the stuff going on. And if you're watching all of them and you see a theme with all of them across your board, it's easy for you to just deduce that, oh, that's happening. That's happening right now, right? And so I wouldn't just jump on and be like, oh, we're going to war, like for real. Don't just jump on that. Just take it in, head on a swivel, continue to move forward with your prepping, with your preparedness stuff, and the things that you know you need to continue to do. And that's it. That's it. Okay? And don't get overwhelmed with the almost the noise from our own community, right? Sometimes you got to take that noise and just put it on a shelf, baby, and you just can't do it anymore. I've had folks tell me, hey, I had to step away from the channel for a while because it just was a lot. Because my topics, I don't want to brag and be like, this is fear-mongering, but it tends to be fearful stuff because it's serious stuff. But it's stuff that I feel like is going on and you need to prepare for it. And so it's not meant to scare you. It's not even meant to make money on YouTube. It's meant to show you the urgency that this stuff is happening. This is happening, right? That's why I don't necessarily get mad at channels that do 100% for the money thumbnail. That's crazy. I mean, I get hooked every time. Like, what? And then I watch the video and I'm like, okay, it wasn't as like red alert like they made it, right? So it's easy to get sucked into that, and you just have to take that and put it on a shelf sometimes. And if that's me for you sometimes, then you put me on a shelf and you come back later, right? Don't give that, don't take on that energy, especially if it's coming on you in a wave of negativity, right? So anyway, I hope you guys are well. I'm going to continue to drink my coffee. It's Thursday. It's very chill here. It's clouds, right? A little bit of wind. There's not a lot going on. I'm probably chilling today. I think today's a binge day. I think today, you guys, I only have one video today. I've been doing 2-3 videos a day most days now that I have Patreon up and running. If you haven't joined us over there, I've got a lovely group over there, started over there. We're getting into the weeds. We have a lot of videos, doing 3 videos a week over there. Just very excited about that group and about that platform. But today, baby, I only have a 1 video requirement for you guys right now, and I think I'm just gonna find me a show and binge. I'm just gonna chill, light some candles and chill. So I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm not getting hyped up. Not today, right? Not today. So you guys be well. Do everything in love. Be happy. Be positive. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care. Bye.